This chocolate ganache frosting is fabulous. Not only can you use it to glaze your donuts that we're going to show you after you've filled them with custard, you can use it to frost brownies, you can use it to frost a cake, you can use it to spoon out of the jar, out of your refrigerator, like a little bite of chocolate. It's a staple chocolate recipe that I think everybody will want to have around, just always have on hand. I like to melt it down sometimes after I've set it up if I have some vanilla ice cream that I've made, and use that as a drizzle. You can use it like a magic shell. There's just so many things you can do with it. So let's get started. We're going to start with our sweetener. It calls for 1 cup of either maple syrup or coconut sugar. Really, if you want, you could use Lakanto, which is a sugar-free sweetener. I'm going to use coconut sugar today because it gives it such a good kind of caramelly, mapley flavor. So that's why I like to use this in my chocolate. And I'm gonna just start by putting my 1 cup into the blender. Now you'll notice today, this time, I'm using a smaller blender. You can get these on Vitamix. They're a short, if you can see this, it's a lot shorter than the regular one. I figured I'm making a small batch of chocolate. This is a good one to have on hand. If you're really serious about being a chef, especially a raw food chef, I recommend ordering one of these. And I think you can get them now from Costco, but definitely make sure you order one of these. Just go online and get the 32 ounce blender, Vitamix blender. Okay. The next thing we're gonna add in is some cacao powder, about 3/4 of a cup. Now this is raw cacao powder, but you could definitely use cooked chocolate powder if you wanted. Just make sure there's no sweetener added to it. It's just pure raw cacao or pure cocoa powder, okay? So add that in. I get mine from Bali right now, and I love this cacao powder. High in magnesium, it's just an awesome food. Next, we're going to add in our fat. So you gotta have a little fat with your chocolate. So we want 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. It's not a lot, just enough to give it some body. This coconut oil is kind of somewhere in between melted and solid. It'll make a perfect blending. If it's rock solid, let's say you're in Canada in the winter, you're gonna wanna defrost it. You're gonna wanna put it in your, you wanna shave it down and maybe put it in your dehydrator or warm it up somehow before you put it in your blender. Then the last thing we're gonna add in is some salt. So I want about, I'm kind of a little more on the salty side with my sweets, so I'm gonna add in about 1/4 teaspoon. Your recipe calls for 1/8, so it's really, I'm gonna leave that up to you. What I recommend is flavor balancing on your own. What that means is once you've put your ingredients in, you taste it and you think, do I like the flavor balance? Do I like the notes on there? If you're not, you can always add more. The last thing I'm gonna add in is some water. It looks like I've got about 1/2 cup of water here. And that's gonna just bring it all together. And then we'll blend. Make sure you get that lid on really tight. And start on 0. Sometimes you're gonna get a little air bubble in your chocolate sauce. So just give it a shake, and I don't know if you heard that, you probably didn't, but it went bloop, and the air bubble popped out, and so then I'm just gonna blend again, okay? Start on low. Make sure that variable speed goes down. A lot of times I just push them both down when I stop to make sure I avoid, because I don't wanna start it with it on high, it's gonna jump start my heart, and maybe the sauce will flip up into the lid, and I'll lose some really precious chocolate sauce. So start on low, turn that on again, and just kind of this is my favorite part. I get to taste it. Let's see what it tastes like. And I like that I was given a really big tasting spoon for this. Okay, let's imagine dipping strawberries into that. Oh, it smells so good. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm serious, I'm really excited. It's after lunch and I can't wait to try this. Wow, this tastes like a candy bar. Okay, I'm going away. No, next I'm going to put it in something. So what if you had this little jar of chocolate ganache and you could give this to a friend with a big red bow on it? They would be your best friend forever. Do I have chocolate all over my face? Okay, so I'm getting goofy because I love chocolate, but it's seriously, this is some, follow this recipe exactly and you're gonna adore it. So look at this as I pour it out. So this is yummy, smooth, silky Right now it's a chocolate sauce, but when it sets up, the reason I call it ganache is because it gets thick. So if I were to put it on a donut, like use it as a glaze for a donut, or you know, I might use it in my cinnamon rolls, not even cinnamon rolls, but my pastry rolls, and roll it up as a spiral. So you can see that it has a good consistency to it. And as I use that for things, as it refrigerates, it's gonna get solid. So it's scoopable and I can just eat it right out of there. Or I can, like I said, I can use it for a frosting. Use an offset spatula to frost my cake. So we'll get more into that as these lessons go and we get more into pastries. But we're doing our foundation right now of sauces, so now you've learned how to do chocolate ganache sauce.